I've got a real soft spot for stories with, let's say, unconventional art styles. Let's look at one of those, shall we? Aggretsuko, or Aggressive Retsuko, is a charmingly middle-of-the-road anime about a frustrated 25-year-old who only wants to quit her job. Don't be fooled by the marketing for this show. The fact that Retsuko, the main character, likes to sing karaoke death metal has little or nothing to do with the actual plot. It's an aspect of her character that's central to how we as the audience come to understand Retsuko, but the show makes no pretenses about that aspect of her life being nothing more than that, an aspect. The real plot of Aggretsuko is exactly what I said before. Retsuko is a 25-year-old accountant with a shitty boss who quietly dreams of quitting her job. And that quietly part is central to her character, even more so than the death metal. To the outside world, Retsuko's a happy, responsible hard worker, and while she very much is all of those things, we also gain insight into the ramifications of those qualities through her love of death metal. Because while being quiet, responsible, and dependable are all very good things, it also means that Retsuko is taken advantage of and even abused by those around her. And much of the show, in fact the main central thrust, heart, and conflict, comes from Retsuko confronting herself and others about this aspect of her life. And I think that's where Aggretsuko shines. It's clear, if not by the first episode, then by the second or third, that Retsuko's love of death metal isn't just a quirk, it's a coping mechanism, and a really poor one at that. Cause see, while venting her frustrations into a microphone keeps her calm, it also keeps her from venting her frustrations to the people who could actually help her. In fact, a large part of Retsuko's character growth comes from opening up to others, which I'd normally say is a sign of a weak protagonist, the kind that seems to lack any agency in their own right, but Retsuko is far from a weak character. Actually, I'd go as far as to say that there isn't a weak character in the entire show. Sure, some characters get off worse than others. The wannabe bad boy next door, Haida, spends a lot of time pining after Retsuko without really taking any action, but that's kind of the point of his character, and he goes through his own micro-arc during the season, which is more than most characters can say. Then again, the other characters are interesting enough on their own. Feneko, Retsuko's cold, calculating best friend, is easily one of the standout characters, and a great example of one of the show's running themes, masks. See, Feneko pretends to be aloof and uncaring, like she's above it all, and in a lesser show, we find out that no, she's actually deeply emotional, or she secretly cares for Retsuko more than anybody else, but no. The real twist with Feneko isn't that she secretly cries herself to sleep every night, it's that she's more or less normal. She's presented as an intelligent, quick-witted social media super sleuth, and we find out that, yeah, she totally is that, but she also likes being complimented by guys, and she'll cave into peer pressure if you try hard enough. As incredible as Feneko is, she's still human, more or less. Tone is another great example of this. Tone, above all else, is a sexist pig and Retsuko's shitty boss. But he's also a gifted freestyle rap artist, really freaking good at his job, and cares for his employees somewhat, even though he also seems to hate them. He's lazy, hardworking, an asshole, and a sweetheart. And he's all of those things at once because people are always more or less someone they're not. And Retsuko's journey is about reconciling this fact. The fact that the Retsuko that takes shit from everyone with a smile is the same fearless Retsuko that kicks ass in the karaoke booth, who is the same Retsuko that works hard towards her goals, who is the same Retsuko who's been running away from her problems. The show essentially asks us not only to think of others more complexly, but to think of ourselves as complex, holistic individuals, regardless of how poorly some parts of our identity fit in with the others. Aggretsuko is short and sweet and is above average in just about all the best ways, and I'm worried that it's gonna fly under a lot of people's radar because of its quote-unquote cheap animation, and that really fucking sucks because I can't recommend this show more. I'm sure that the art style, which is somewhere between Hello Kitty and Happy Tree Friends, is gonna turn away a lot of people, and I think that's why I feel compelled to write about this series that's just a little bit above okay. Because it's not just a little bit above okay. Aggretsuko is smart and funny and sweet, and while I do ultimately think that this show is pretty standard, I can't help but also think that if Aggretsuko was the standard for a good 10-episode anime, then more anime would be watchable. Aggretsuko doesn't take any risks, and it's pretty textbook storytelling, and yeah, those statements are both true, but they also beg the question, is that a bad thing? Is being a small, inoffensive anime about cute girls doing cute things and overcoming small obstacles with low stakes a crime? Obviously, I already have my answer, but I gotta say, watch Aggretsuko regardless of your answer. Trust me, it's worth it. But whatever, you don't have to take my word or anything, this isn't supposed to be a review, it's more of a recommendation, I think? Anyways, my name isn't important. Thank you for watching. Do all the YouTube stuff if you want to. I really don't care. Okay, laters.